What's up guys, J47 here, and today we're going to be discussing what's the best combat helicopter in GTA Online. Now, in this game, there are four. There's the Annihilator, there's the Buzzard, there's the Valkyrie, and there's the Savage. Now, in this video, I will discuss both the in-game helicopter and its real-life counterpart. What makes them good, what makes them bad. What their armaments are, what their roles are, and how to use them effectively. Also, I will give some real-life information from websites and resources that I've found. And I'll explain them to you to give you some kind of insight onto what makes his helicopters good and what makes them bad. So, moving on, we're going to start the video with the most notorious helicopter. It is the American UH-60 Black Hawk, also known as the Annihilator. Now, this helicopter is the worst helicopter in GTA Online. Its real-life counterpart, it being the UH-60 Black Hawk, is from the mid to late 1980s and is meant to be a utility helicopter. It's meant to transport troops, transport medical supplies, transport ammo, things like that. It's not meant to go into combat. Even though this helicopter has miniguns on it, it's not meant to go into combat. It's meant to transport troops and transport medical supplies, like I've said. This makes this helicopter very, very underpowered against every other helicopter in this lineup. But since it has weapons, it makes this helicopter a combat helicopter. If it didn't have weapons, it wouldn't be in the lineup. But it does. So yeah. But anyway, moving on. It's seen service since the 1980s, and its most notorious usage was in the Battle of Mogadishu, also known as Black Hawk Down. This helicopter was meant to transport Delta and Ranger troops, or Ranger units, into Mogadishu. And two of these helicopters got shot down. That's kind of bad, especially when you're going up against a bunch of, in essence, militiamen. Militiamen armed with, in essence, rocks and sticks, AK-47s, AK-74s, G3s, low-grade, under-maintenance pieces of shit, and a couple RPGs. Were able to take down this helicopter. It was able to knock out two of these helicopters. Now, these weren't just some, Joe Blow helicopter pilots. These guys were SOAR. Just look them up. I'm not going to go into them. I'm not going to go and explain what SOAR is. But they are some of the best helicopter units, pilots, crewmen, etc. that our military has to offer. And these guys were shot down by basically farmers. Now, albeit this helicopter was a utility helicopter, wasn't meant to go in there, even still, this was supposed to be state-of-the-art. This was one of the best helicopters that we had at the time that was transport-based. It was meant to do really anything that a utility helicopter could do, and then some. And you can see it here, it was able to carry miniguns. With that being said, this helicopter on this game and in real life was not meant to go into combat. To talk about the helicopter's armament in game, it has 4 miniguns. 4 of them. Okay. That's pretty good. Not really. Pretty good for a little utility helicopter. That's pretty damn good. That's pretty good. I mean, you're talking about a utility helicopter that's supposed to transport medical supplies and troops. I mean, you have a utility helicopter armed with you have it armed with 4 miniguns. That's pretty impressive. That's pretty impressive. Excuse me, I'm still trying to get over my cold. You haven't noticed yet. Now, that's the only armament it has on the helicopter itself. Now, you can put up to 6 people into this helicopter. You have the pilot, co-pilot, and you have 4 passengers. Now, in a recent update, I think it was the heist update, they made it to where you can shoot RPGs and snipers out of this helicopter. And that means that if you're going up against a tank, or if you're going up against a helicopter, you have 2 RPGs, or 2 sniper rifles, or whatever combination you want on this helicopter. It means that if you have all RPGs, you have 4 RPGs on this helicopter at one time. That's 80 rockets. 80. And if you get close enough and you fire one of them rockets, you know, you're gonna really scare the shit out of someone. Because it's not just some basic little missile that you can aim. Now you can aim with discretion. You can aim directly where you want them to go. You don't have to rely on a little reticule on the screen like for the Buzzard or for the Annihilator or for the Savage when you're flying the helicopter. You don't have to rely on this little dot or square to fire a rocket. Now you can actually like look at where you want to shoot, lead your target, and fire. So that's kind of its main advantage. So if you carry troops, so if you want to drop someone on the roof and then use a Stinger, which is the homing missile, if you want to drop them on a roof and have the helicopter run off somewhere and draw the target that's bugging, that's causing you problems in, you can do that. If you want to go and transport your crew, if you don't have a big crew, and if you just want to transport them into a fight, you can do that with this helicopter. This helicopter is meant to transport, and that's what makes this helicopter a good combat helicopter. Or, excuse me, makes this helicopter a good utility helicopter, a good transport helicopter. Combat-wise, no, don't use it. You will get your ass whooped in it. Next helicopter we're going to be talking about is the Russian Mi-24 Hind. Now, this helicopter was at first made by the Soviet Union. The Soviet Union version was the Mi-25, but the Russians, both the Soviets and the Russians today, have severely modified, upgraded, and updated this helicopter into the model that you see today, which is the current model that they use in real life, which is what you're seeing in the game. Now, the Mi-25, to give you an idea of how far this helicopter has come, the Mi-25 was the original Hind. It was made in the 1960s, and that's the model that you use in Call of Duty Black Ops 1 when you're flying around in a Hind with woods. That's the original Hind. You cannot get any more original than that.
Why, hello, how you doing?
The helicopter's been updated and upgraded. They've changed the look of it. They made it more aerodynamic, more appropriately armed, and things like that. Now, to talk about this helicopter's role, this helicopter was meant to do one, to be multi-purpose. If we needed to transport wounded soldiers, it could do it. Transport soldiers into a combat zone, it can do it. Transport light weapons such as field guns or ammo, it can do it. Kill vehicles, kill infantry, it can do it. Provide close air, it can do it. This helicopter was meant to do anything and everything. But because of its severe armament and because of its size, it makes this helicopter very, very, very slow and heavy. Which is why in the gameplay you saw me crash. I was trying my damnedest.
Hello, you're through to Pegasus Lifestyle Management. How can I help?
I was really trying. I had to stick
your
back all the way.
Your beautiful new aircraft is waiting at our nearest airfield.
All the way back,
we hope you're very happy, sir.
It would not pull up for the life of it. It just would not. And that was a shallow dive. Now imagine if it was a steep dive, like if you're nose diving. Imagine that. You're not going to pull out of that. You're not going to pull out of it. And so that's what makes this helicopter really bad. Is because it's slow, it's unmaneuverable, and it's heavy. So, if you're trying to dodge a missile, if you're trying to dodge someone with an RPG, or if you're trying to duck behind a building to break a lock of a missile, you can't do it with this helicopter. Now, albeit it can take a missile, sometimes, depending on where it hits, it still is very vulnerable with this with all of its little quirks, it being unmaneuverable, slow, heavy, another thing is its sheer size. This is the biggest attack helicopter in the game. Seriously. This dwarfs the Annihilator. And the Annihilator is pretty big now. And it dwarfs it. And this is an attack helicopter. Now, albeit it's meant to do everything and anything, you still have to keep in mind that this is a helicopter. This isn't meant to be some, you know, high-grade jet. This is a helicopter. And you're making a helicopter which relies on maneuverability and speed to make it effective. You're making it to where it can't. And the Russians' logic is that quantity is better. They'd rather build 100 to 200 Hinds in a day and have 50 of them be shot down and kill the crew, and be able to build 50 more of them than build 5 really good helicopters like the Apache and have one of them get shot down and lose like $2 million on it. You know, that's a whole Russian logic, and that's what they've kind of done with this helicopter in the game. They made it cheap, but at the same time they made it somewhat effective. It's good. Its good things about it is that it's heavily armed. It's got 4 missile pods. It's got a 20mm cannon. It can carry up to 4 people. It's also very strong. It can take plenty of sniper bullets and keep on going. And it has a missile targeting system that the co-pilot can use to free fire the rockets in any direction he wants. So that's the good things about it. But this is like the third worst helicopter. If it wasn't heavy and all that, this helicopter would definitely be at the top. But because it's heavy, yeah. The next helicopter we're going to be discussing is another classic, and it is the Buzzard. The Buzzard is based on AH-6 Little Bird. This helicopter is straight up quick insertion. It's able to defend itself, and it's an attacker. You know, it's meant to go into combat and provide some form of close air, but its goal is to quick insert. It's meant to drop, like, per se, fire team, which is like 3 to 4 guys, into an area and get out of there quick. It's small, it's compact, it's quick. That's what makes this helicopter a good quick insertion helicopter. And its armaments are pretty good too. This makes it the best, or the second best helicopter. It has 2 missile pods and 2 miniguns. Now you're thinking, oh well, the Hind has a 20mm cannon that has 4 missile pods. The difference is that this helicopter is smaller. It's more maneuverable. It can duck behind buildings, and it's going to run circles around the Hind. That, and also because its size, you know, it's really hard to spot at night, to even spot in the daytime, to lock onto, and to track. Visually, it's hard to track it, unless it's really close to you, in which case, you know, anyone could track anything at that point. But at far distance, it's like a black speck. You're not going to see it very well if it's a good distance away. The good things about this helicopter is its weapon systems, its missile targeting system that the co-pilot can use, its size, maneuverability, its speed. The bad things about it is, and there's just this one big letdown, and again, if it didn't have this helicopter would probably be at the top as well. It's actually competing with the Hind. And the reason is this. If you look at the front of the Buzzard, what does it have? It has this nice big windshield, and you can see your whole body inside this helicopter. And you can look through the window and you can see your whole body from feet to head. You can see it all. This makes it really easy to be shot out of. There's no protection between you and the bullets. You know, there's nothing there to stop the bullets. That means if someone's talented enough with a sniper rifle, they can shoot you out of it with ease. Another thing is its missile loading system. You can only fire 2 missiles before it has to reload, which is kind of a letdown, because if you're going up against a Hind and you're not really good at flying a helicopter, you're probably going to lose if you don't land those first 2 missiles on target. You can fire them in kind of quicker succession if you're talented enough with using the missile system. But otherwise, no, you can't. And unlike the Buzzard, the Hind, you can hold down the X button if you have the missiles set up, and you can hold down X, and it will never stop firing. This makes the helicopter's missile systems worse. But the next helicopter we're going to be talking about is the Bell UH-1Y Super Huey, also known as the Valkyrie. Now, the Valkyrie, again, the Super Huey, is the upgraded version of the original Huey. Now, this part sounds confusing, I understand. Now, I'm going to go ahead and say and tell you guys this. There is the original Huey, that's from Vietnam. That was just the standard UH-1 Huey. Now, this version that we're looking at now, in-game, this is the UH-1Y Super Huey. Now, there's a difference. I understand there's only a letter that's making up, or that's making a difference between the old Huey and the new Huey, and also the name change. Now, to help you understand, the UH-1Y Super Huey was made in the 1990s, and the UH-1 Huey was made in the early to mid 1960s and was used during the Vietnam War. And I can understand people may still be confused. I was kind of confused with this. But in the 1990s, the United States Marine Corps launched the H-1 upgrade program by signing a contract with a Bell helicopter for upgrading 100 UH-1Ns into UH-1Ys, and upgrading 180 AH-1Ws into AH-1Zs. The H-1 program created completely modernized attack and utility helicopters with considerable design commonality to reduce operating costs. Now, everything was updated and upgraded. In fact, the UH-1Y compared to the UH-1 had 84% of its components and its whole system updated and upgraded. 84% of it. This little program here changed the Huey from what we saw in Vietnam to this. Now, another thing is that the UH-1 had two different variants. You had the utility version, and then you had the slick version, which was the attack version. That's what the soldiers during Vietnam were called. Slick Hueys, they would have rocket pods and miniguns. Basically anything that an attack helicopter would use. And same thing goes for the Super Huey. The Super Huey has a utility version and it has an attack version. The attack version is what we see in GT Online. Now, during the Vietnam War, the Huey was the workhorse of the U.S. military. Both versions, the UH-1Y and the UH-1. In Black Ops 1, you actually see the slick version. When you're fighting at the Battle of Khe Sanh, and when you meet Reznov in the following mission, when you're trying to find a dossier inside of the MAC-V compound, you use the slick version. And also you get to fly it when you attack that cargo ship near the end of the game. Now, I'm going to go ahead and start talking about the pros and cons of this helicopter. The pros are that the Super Huey has a decent, very decent armament. It has a 20mm airburst cannon on the nose, 2 miniguns on the doors, and those miniguns can be used to shoot down aircraft, and then the nose cannon can also be used to shoot down aircraft and kill tanks. The miniguns are very effective against infantry, and The same thing goes for the nose cannon. The nose cannon is very multi-purpose. You take down aircraft, take down tanks, take down vehicles, take down infantry. And the thing with it being airburst, this is where it has one of its cons. Since it's airburst, it blows up mid-air, making its range a lot less. So you have to be a lot closer to a target in order to be effective with it. This makes you more vulnerable to RPGs and stingers. But if you're good with it, if you're good enough to maneuver with the helicopter, to use it properly, which I'm about to tell you, then the helicopter can compete, and it can be used as the best helicopter in the game. In fact, it is. Use it properly. People look at this helicopter and think, oh, well, you know, it's weak. Well, you know, weakness comes with strength. You know, this helicopter is very, very misleading. It really is. You think that that this helicopter would be very, very underpowered, but in fact, if you use it properly, it's actually very, very good. Another tactic. Now, the tactic that you can use with it is very simple. You can use this helicopter's size. I mean, I'm going to back up right quick. Look at the helicopter size. If you look at the back of the helicopter and you compare it to the Buzzard, it is literally 5 times the length. Or not, excuse me, not 5 times. I'm an idiot. I'm sorry. 2 times the length. 2 times the length of the Buzzard, but relatively the same width as the Buzzard. See what I'm doing right here? Like, this is a perfect example. I'm using the helicopter's size and its maneuverability, and I'm using it to its advantage. I'm gonna peek over this building very slowly, let my gunner get good eyes on the guy, and you can see him moving around on that wall. So I'm just gonna let my gunner take care of him, and then boom, done. So yeah, this helicopter, I think I've said before, is very maneuverable, very fast, very agile, very well armed, and is highly effective if you use it properly. Now, the cons of this is that it's weak. You can take a couple sniper bullets and then it'll start smoking. So you have to avoid sniper fire if you can. The minute you start taking bullets, you need to get out of there. You need to go low or you need to go high. You need to avoid those bullets at all costs. So yeah, that's basically it. So in essence, the Valkyrie is the best combat helicopter in the game, and is also very cost effective as well. But anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed. Leave a like, sub, and subscribe. I'll see you next time.